Amores, this is Kirby Marie here. Welcome back to my YouTube channel and welcome to another episode of Shin Hayarigami 2. First of all, it's very good to see y'all again. I hope y'all doing well. Hope y'all having a lovely day, afternoon, night, depending on your time zone. And I just want to say thank you guys so much for taking this moment of your time and watching today's video. I really appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. If you guys enjoyed this type of content, be sure to drop the like button. It really helps out a lot. If you're not subscribed to the channel, would appreciate if you do. Also leave your comments and your thoughts on this video or anything in general. And the last episode where we left off, we officially finished the chapter of the lady in the trench coat, and now we're currently starting a new chapter, which is half case, a case where peoples are getting basically split in half. So this is gonna be a wild adventure. If you guys are new around here and have not watched the first chapter of The Lady in the Trench Coat, I suggest you watch it, because even though each chapter has a different case with a slightly different story, there's something about each chapter that connects them all into one full story still. So yeah, I suggest you check it out. But now we're going to be starting with the half case. Don't know, I'm not gonna try to spoil much what's going to happen, but without further ado, we're just gonna jump in. I don't even know what else to say. I'm sorry. Let me move my mic a bit so I can see the letter. Okay. Toshitetsu. As it is passed down from person to person, it changes little by little, and it takes form. At first, it's like a trivial conversation about oaths. But before long, it casts shadows, bone form, and it finally acquires a body, and it appears before your eyes. Ooh. I am so excited to start this chapter! Okay. The two high school girls!
Hey, do you know the story? What? Another rumor?
That's right! And it's an interesting one.
I see. What kind of rumor will it be this time?
Again, this is just a rumor from a friend of a friend. So, there was a girl who knew two sisters who were super close.
So what?
These sisters were so close that they split everything together in half. Cake, chocolate, pasta.
It's food. We also split those up together. But it wasn't just food.
Huh? What do you mean? One day, one of the sisters got a boyfriend. What? Well, he got
Since she was with her boyfriend, the sisters no longer had any time to spend together.
Huh?
One day, a package arrived, and it was addressed to that one sister. Coincidentally, it was her birthday, so she opened the package excitedly, thinking it was a present from her boyfriend. Inside there was only half of her boyfriend's body.
Whoa, I knew it. He got
I think I'm fine with only splitting up food. Then, would you be fine with sharing those cookies you bought earlier?
Of course you would say that. Is that why you told this story? You're so sneaky.
How'd you guess?
Okay. Many scholars may judge that humans have lost their mind. However, I don't think that's the case. We dress ourselves up in vanity. We paint our lives with lies, and we even unconsciously lie involuntarily. Yes, many people live their lives telling lies unconsciously without even realizing it. Humans are the most cunning and diverse creatures in the natural world, and they can disguise themselves. I know. Oh my god! That's a nice little touch there. sick.
I'm Marie from G Prefectural Police, TOKUSOU.
Without even thinking about it, I start blurting out the usual comments I would make towards people I meet for the first time. Normally I would show my police badge to the person in question, but since there isn't anyone to do that, I just lean back in my chair. I'm bored. Just how long do I have to sit in this chair and stare blankly? I was sent to work at G Prefectural Police, or rather at TOKUSOU, and it's been 3 weeks since I've started working there as a detective. We've not been involved in any cases yet, which means we have not had the chance of introducing ourselves as detectives from TOKUSOU. Is this a good thing or a bad thing? Probably the latter. Well, if I were to say something like that, people would probably call me insensitive. Perhaps responding to my voice, my partner, SENA, was mumbling next to me. He seems to be talking in his sleep while snoring. Ravioli, spaghetti, that's SENA.
Now that I think about it, SENA was right here. I'm glad he didn't hear me talking to myself.
Hey, that's normal. We all talk to ourselves at some point. It would have been embarrassing if I had been caught. What a foolish thing to do. I'll be more careful from now on. His breathing was so soft and quiet. Unlike when he's awake, the wrinkles between his eyebrows were a little less pronounced, so he looked younger than usual. Or so I thought. Suddenly my eyes caught a magazine placed on SENA's desk. This magazine is important, by the way. It's like the O parts from the Death Mark and NG series. It's Monthly Mew. It's a unique magazine that takes the occult and paranormal phenomena very seriously, treating them as real things. The topics cover a wide range of strange things, from aliens, supernatural powers, mysterious phenomena, ancient civilizations, conspiracy theories, and even unidentified flying objects. It's safe to say that it's a general information magazine about the occult. I'm not sure if the contents are true though. It's an unorthodox among heretics. Its unique approach has earned it a high reputation among enthusiasts for many years ago, and it has been said that it has many fans among celebrities. I guess SENA brought it here. It's a great time for people like us with so much free time. I'm going to read a bit.
What's the identity of the luminous object that appeared in the sky of T-City and Prefecture? We'll investigate the unknown magical elements hidden in the structure.
I flipped through the pages, looking at distinctive promotional phrases.
Did cattle mutilation really exist? 10 debaters thoroughly debate.
This part of the article seems familiar. I think this article was featured in a program called TOKUSOU on Owari TV. Rather than reenacting footage, the film made an extensive use of actual footage shot by the reporting staff, which gave this an incredible sense of realism.
Okay, the next article is...
My hands suddenly stopped turning the pages.
Proof that the lady in the trench coat exists? Could it possibly be
the previous incident? I scanned through the article, and there's no doubt about it. This is an article about that incident. Impossible. After the incident, media control was put into place, and all the major media companies went quiet. Did the higher-ups not notice this risky article from Monthly Mew? Or was it deliberately published in Monthly Mew to make it into a story that no one would believe? This magazine investigates any story, no matter how outrageous it may be, and writes them down. I hate to say this, but I think in some ways this makes it seem even more suspicious.
It seems that UFO gossip in America is intentionally read by many to ease the shock of an upcoming alien invasion.
But this is a completely ridiculous story. So silly. Now that I think about that... The phone! My telephone! The antique black telephone, which is like a fossil, considering the shabby, dingy room, was ringing loudly.
Hello, this is Marie from G Prefectural Police's TOKUSOU.
It's me.
The voice coming through the receiver was the voice of the chief director. Thank you for your work, Chief. What can we help you with?
Something's happened.
It's just a few words, but they carry a lot of weight, and they're words I've been waiting for. What kind of incident is it?
It seems like a gruesome body was discovered at a park.
The chief spoke in a strained voice, speaking slowly.
Shouldn't the music just change into something more serious?
This case may be a mysterious one. I want the members of TOKUSOU to go to the scene and investigate the case.
A mysterious incident. The words of the chief echo in my head. TOKUSOU is a special customer service center. This is the first case for this department, and we don't know how serious it is. I had been bored for a while and had just thought we had been relegated to the window stool, so a sense of expectation and tension ran my whole body. May I ask for more details? What's the condition of the victim's body? A swallowing sound came from the other end of the phone. Honbucho.
Well, something like that.
I can hear a shaky breath coming from the other side. Again, I ask, what's the condition of the victim's body?
Well, you see...
He's trying to avoid it. His voice is trembling.
Chief, are you a pussy?
I mean, are you afraid?
Don't be silly! A police officer shouldn't be bothered by something like this! I can't believe you assumed that!
But your voice is shaking, isn't it?
That is, well, it's what they call nervous excitement!
Sus. Now that I think about it, his tone has been this way from the start. This man is a pussy, I mean scary cat. I wish to do some liars are on.
Well, you see, basically this is the first case for TOKUSOU, so I was excited for it.
It seems like he just made up an excuse. He keeps saying and ah.
Is that so?
It's likely a no. I'm 100% certain that everyone will be shocked and taken aback if they found out that the chief director, who's rumored to be an urban legend in G Prefecture, is a scary cat. Pussy!
Who would believe though? The chief director is part of this, but no one knows his face. That's right, this chief's never shown his face. No matter what strange events occur, no matter how serious the incident is, everything remains with the chief director, and he himself never shows up. That is our chief director from the G Prefectural Police.
Well, I'm confident in my physical strength and physique, and I'm more into martial arts than most. But that's not something to brag about.
I don't think that's the case.
The problem is that he's obviously hiding something.
From this easily understandable personality profile, it's hard to believe he's the one who founded TOKUSOU, an organization that investigates mysterious cases. Yes, the head of this department is the founder of TOKUSOU and our direct superior. What a pain. According to the chief director, the purpose of establishing TOKUSOU is to have it specialize in investigating mysterious incidents that occur in G Prefecture. We specialize in investigating and resolution of cases related to urban legends no ordinary police officer would take seriously.
That's also a pain.
Are you doubting me? Well then, let me prove it to you. Here's what happened.
I don't think anything he says will change my opinion, but I won't say anything just so he can give me the details.
The body was found in the park, severed in two. It was cut in half along the midline. Only the right half was found at the scene. The left half is still missing.
Naruhodo. Certainly this is no ordinary case. The rigid-minded First Investigative Division may only be able to come up with a formal-like, textbook-like answer. That's where we come in. Where's the park located at? In the city or outside the city?
The contents that my own team reported have been put together in the car, so please look at it on the way.
The chief became a bit timid. Maybe he's reached his limit of fear? Okay, so which car is it?
I emailed the Morse code version to your partner's PC, so please check it out.
Huh? A Morse code?
Why go to such lengths?
Well, I'll leave it to you.
Wow. Is he like the worst boss ever?
Without answering my question, the chief hung up. I have no idea what's on his mind, but that's not the point. We have a bigger problem to deal with now. The chief said he emailed it on SENA's PC. I'm sure her PC slept on the whole time. I've been looking at the unfamiliar PC, trying to make sense. In the end, I had to succumb to my sleepy partner. Looking over, he was sleeping peacefully as usual. He didn't seem to have heard the ringing from the black phone. We got a new case! Wake up, SENA! I shake SENA as he lies face down on the desk. Huh? I'll say it again. We have a new case. A new case? For real? As my words reach out to him, his expression completely changed. Well, first, we must decode this Morse code. After completing the tedious task of deciphering the Morse code, SENA and I got inside the car and prepared ourselves as we headed to the park where the crime had occurred while reading the documents. It's the same area as the previous incident. The chief should have said that from the beginning. Wow. Okay, so it's the park where we encountered the lady in the trench coat the first time. Who the hell thinks they can do what they want? I'll arrest them with my own hands! Jeez, you're full of energy. Of course I am. It's our first case. What's more, I like the chief's tactics. His tactics? I guess I should let him know about the incident. Isn't it cool to be sent to a special mission with a Morse code? I guess. He's still blabbering about the Morse code. It seems SENA enjoys this kind of thing more than I do. How should I put it? It's like an old spy movie, you know? It's like a special mission and a secret mission. I mean, you even took the trouble to delete the email after decrypting it. Seriously? Well, of course. Once you see the contents, you should erase it. I wanted to tell him that he sounds like a middle school student who's influenced by the movies after watching it, but it would probably turn into a pointless conversation, so I stopped myself. Alright. New crime scene. Investigators were already swarming the scene. It seems we came a bit too late. If the chief hadn't made us go through all that trouble, we would have arrived earlier. Hey, we're here! Could someone tell us where the crime scene is? Responding to SENA's voice, the detectives from the 1st Investigative Division turned towards us, puzzled with puzzled looks on their faces. Those eyes are saying, the out-of-place detectives have come. Hey, why are those two here? Didn't those two got demoted? Why are they here? Demoted? Oh, fuck you! They said it so verbally. Huh? No way! Are you kidding? Oh my... You guys came? This music. Just when things were about to get heated up, our former boss, Chief Tanaka, appeared with a look of obvious annoyance on his face. Yes, we came. A crime has occurred and we're detectives, you know? Yes, but when outsiders like you get involved, it disrupts a lot of important things, like unity of will and atmosphere on site. Outsiders? That's a nasty way to say it. Even though it was a short time we worked together, I can't imagine saying that to a former subordinate. If you're not interested about the crime scene, I'll send you the information I put together later, alright? It'll save you a lot of time. He smiles suspiciously as he says that. First he's called us outsiders, and then he tries to keep us away from this. I'm willing to bet that if we back down, Chief Tanaka will never send us any documents. No, we'll investigate and compile the information ourselves. But... He's still being hesitant. What should I say? Flatter him, stare at him without saying a word, snort. I'll just stare at him without saying a word. I stare blankly and expressionlessly at the Chief Tanaka. What is it? Is there something you want to say? He seems to be panicking. He's such a pussy! No kidding. He's such a coward, so this obviously has some effect on him. Do you think I'm lying? Don't be silly. Of course you are. I can see your little Pinocchio nose growing. I continue to stare silently at the chief, who continues to speak in an apologetic tone. Just a little more. Hey, old man! We're from the Special Investigation Team, directly under the Chief Director, you know? After losing patience, Sena shouts out loud.
It doesn't matter what an old man like you thinks. This special case for the chief director is a priority.
Sena's determined that TOKUSOU is a special investigation team under the control of the chief director himself. With great difficulty, I had explained that TOKUSOU is a special customer service desk, but I guess there was no point in doing that. However, it is true that we do report directly to the chief director, so it's not entirely a lie, and it would probably be effective against people who easily succumb to a single human authority like Chief Tanaka.
I see. Alright then. Do as you wish.
I don't know what to say, but it seems things worked out. I should have done that from the beginning. Next time, I'll be sure to mention the chief director. Even as saying, do as you wish, is that what the chief of the 1st Investigative Division should say? Even during the short time I was his subordinate, I can't say I respect him. Of course not. He'll never even get laid.
I'm glad we understand each other, old man. Now let us through, and tell us where the crime scene's at.
You can see it right there, don't you? It's the public bathroom covered with the blue tarp.
Super obvious. The bathroom is completely hidden by a blue sheet. I knew it without being told. To be fair, Sena seems to just be getting back at him for the sarcasm earlier.
You should have cooperated like this from the beginning. Come on, make way. The special investigation team is coming through. He's getting too carried away.
Even I think he's taking things too far. Chief Tanaka and the other members of the Section 1 seem to be offended. It seems that Sena was treated poorly in many ways during the 1st Investigative Division, so perhaps this is payback?
Hey, Natty, what are you doing? Let's hurry up.
Hold on, I'll be right there. Chief Tanaka, thanks for letting us in. For now, I decide to give him my gratitude. This also serves as an apology for Sena's actions.
Yes, just do whatever you want.
Looks like it had no effect. But that's alright. At least I feel a bit better seeing the chief get insulted by Sena. With this in mind, I lifted the blue tarp covering the entrance to the bathroom and went inside. The moment I step into the women's restroom, I am hit with a fishy, repulsive smell. Ugh.
Wow, what a horrible stench.
This is the smell of death. Blood and organs. The smell that has been exposed around the air has begun to rot.
Yo, what? I forgot about that.
This is one disturbing corpse.
Another horrific incident has occurred again. I feel something unpleasant. The opposite of nausea rising on the back of my throat. I felt as if my brain had been pulled out from the back of my head and the memories of my past incident came flooding back to me. Calm down. I need to calm down. I need to face this. If I look away, I'll let things like that happen again. I won't let it happen again.
Hey, Natty, you alright?
Sena looks at me with a worried expression on his face. His right hand is half raised. Perhaps he was about to reach behind my back. Yeah, I'm fine. It's no big of a deal. That's right. It's alright now. Anyways, try not to throw up on the spot, please.
Ha! You're so strong. Pretty brave.
Saying that, Sena grins, lowering his right hand down and lightly tapping me on the shoulder.
Alright, let's start the on-site inspection.
Yeah, let's get started. Taking a deep breath, I turn to look at the body again.
A body split in half along the midline. Huh. No matter how you look at it, it's a bizarre murder.
Just as Sena said, the right half of the woman's body has been cut vertically down the midline, and it was pasted onto a large full-length mirror, and the mirror was a literal mirror image of the woman's body. There's blood stuck to the mirror's surface, making it a bit difficult to see, but if you wash the blood off, it may be possible to see what she fully looked like when she was alive. Goodness, it's like she's trapped in both mirrors. They had even gone so far as to put back the clothes that also seemed to appear to be cut to fit the corpse, which made it seem even more bizarre.
This isn't something a decent human being would do.
True. Just as SENA said, it's not impossible for a normal person to do this. What on earth were they thinking when they did something like this? I wonder what the motive is.
I'm pretty sure it wasn't robbery or anything like that.
We can't draw any conclusions right now. Let's check with forensics first.
Sure, whatever you want. Please ask away.
I instinctively turn around at the familiar, cheerful voice coming from behind us.
Hello there.
Huh?
In front of us is the woman everyone fears, the Witch of Forensics.
Kisaragi-sensei, why are you here? I mean, you work at the Crime Science Laboratory, not the Crime Investigation Department.
When I first heard about a strange incident, I knew I had to go see this for myself. I became a superintendent because I wanted to investigate cases like this. Isn't it a waste of time not to use it? I've already spoke with the forensic team and performed the odyssey, so ask anything you want. She seems strangely in a good mood. Isn't it a bit inappropriate for her to say this?
Probably the smell of blood lured her here.
To be honest, I agree with him.
What was that? Nothing!
Anyways, we'd like to hear your findings on the site. I try to cover up what SENA said and raise my voice a little.
Oh?
Professor Kisaragi looks at me and grins. Her meaningful smile indicates that she's seen through me. It's somewhat frightening.
What?
Nothing.
So, let's talk about the findings here.
Professor Kisaragi's expression changes.
Hi.
First, the murder scene. According to the forensic analysis, the incident appears to take place inside the public bathroom. Or rather, around the pool of blood over there.
Just to be sure, is it confirmed as a murder case?
Yes, that's right. It's neither an accident nor a murder by sight. I'll explain more details on that later.
I'd be shocked if it was an accident or unaliving. What a scene like this.
It's in a terrible state for sure. The person who discovered it is still a bit traumatized.
Who was it?
An elementary school girl who lives in this neighborhood. Oh my god, that is crazy!
A child saw this?
Apparently on her way to the school, she couldn't resist the urge to use the bathroom and ignored the under construction cones that had been placed there and found the corpse inside.
I can't believe this. Wait, what about this puddle?
Oh no, she peed herself! Oh, poor kid! Being a good man means not questioning everything. Poor thing. That little girl will need some serious therapy, damn. I hate to say it, but we should be grateful that child found the corpse. It's thanks to her that this incident came to light. As I said earlier, there were cones at the entrance, so no one seemed bothered by it. The under construction cone, could the killer have placed it there to delay the body's discovery? The victim's identity is unknown as no personal belongings were found. All we assume at this point is that she may be a woman either in her 40s or 50s. Based on the current reports, in my opinion, the estimated time of death is more than 48 hours ago. At least 2 days have passed since death. Damn, a corpse was lying like that 2 days and nobody bothers to check it out? Rigor mortis is starting to wear off and the cornea is very cloudy, which is a characteristic of a body that's been dead for at least 2 days. Ugh. On the other hand, no signs of decay have been seen, so it's not been 3 days. In my opinion, it would be less than 60 hours after death.
So, how did they kill her?
The process of the kill and the murder weapon are still unknown. The cause of death is also not confirmed.
but it's highly likely that it was sudden death from blood loss. She died from blood loss. The worst possible answer comes to mind.
The victim was still alive.
I can't say for sure, but it's highly likely, as Natty said. This victim was cut in half while still alive. Oh my god.
What a cruel thing to do.
Well, it's a hypothesis, but as for the direct cause of death, judging from the amount of blood there, it's almost certain. How can the cause of death be known when the method of murder is unclear? By pools of blood. Have you ever heard of the Mar method? It uses about 20 milliliters of blood the size of a fist. Milliliters?
No, I haven't.
I hope I read it right. Well, it's meant to measure the amount of blood lost by a patient in an emergency medical setting. It's also used to measure pools of blood at the scene of an incident. It's an accurate estimate. So, what happens when you use this method or whatever? Briefly, the pool of blood is circular and over 1 meter in diameter. That's nearly 3 liters of blood loss. It's only half big, but the victim's estimated weight is just over 50 kilograms. In that case, the total amount of blood in the blood vessels would be about 3 liters.
In other words, a small amount of blood flows out.
Exactly. If the body had stopped functioning after the murder and then dismembered, there's no way there would have been this much bleeding. Is this the basis for what she was saying earlier about this being a murder case? We won't know whether they dismembered the victim alive or whether they drain her blood like they would for livestock until they take the body and examine it. And apart from being cut in half, there's no other injuries that could indicate a cause of death. Although if there were any, it might have been on the missing left half of the body. So, the method of death is still unknown. That's pretty much it. I think we pretty much covered everything, excuse me. Either way, it's a bizarre murder. Doing this to a body like that really suggests some kind of grudge. No, it's not good to think about that now. I do wonder what they did afterwards. They took the left dismembered body, but pasted the other to the mirror. I'm curious to know what their intentions were.
People from the first investigative division would probably say that they have no idea what abnormal people would do this and that it would disrupt the investigation.
Shin is definitely the latter. Mimi, of course. That is why TOKUSOU, which conducts rational analysis from a different perspective, has a reason to exist. Mirror, mirror. SENA's expression changes as if he had just thought of something.
Is there something you want to say about the mirror?
Hey, Natty, have you ever heard this story? A friend of mine told it to me during my gang days. If you look into a mirror at midnight, a demon will appear and drag you into the mirror.
A ghost story? Or perhaps Toshi Densetsu? I heard a different version. Something about seeing yourself before death.
I've heard the same version as SENA. Except it would happen at 2 o'clock, not midnight. The subtle differences between individuals makes this truly an urban legend. It reminds me of a lecture I received from the previous case.
Why did you bring that up suddenly?
She said that the estimated time of death was about 60 hours ago. Could it be possible that she died in the middle of the night? Moreover, it looks like she's half drowned in the mirror, like being dragged in the middle of the night. This is something that suddenly came to mind. It makes sense what SENA's saying. I don't know how it's related though, and well, if it's related to mirrors, it may be the purple mirror. I've heard about that. If you remember that word by the time you're 20, you'll die. Exactly. Though this woman is clearly not 20 years old. SENA seems to have the same mindset as the previous incident. This is a strange incident in which an urban legend may have some kind of influence on the case. However, although there's no doubt that this is a bizarre crime, it's not possible to determine at this stage if it's also not a mysterious crime. So, what then?
TOKUSOU doesn't deny the existence of the occult, but it doesn't mean we can see it through other perspectives, right?
We need to approach this issue with a broad and balanced perspective. I know that, but I'm good at urban legends. I say what I know about it. Yes, Sena is very knowledgeable in urban legends. When I ask him why he's so invested in it, he dodges my question, but I wonder if it has something to do with the incident. However, it's not a good idea to force someone to talk about something they are unwilling to talk about. Even though we're partners, there are things we should not stray into. When he's ready to talk about it, I'll listen to him. Well, once you decide your investigation policy, feel free to consult with me anytime. Whether it's scientific or occult, I'm willing to help either way. We'll decide on that later. There are still too many blanks that we need answering.
Well then, let's ask the people around the neighborhood. Detectives get the job done by using their feet, you know.
Right. If there's any reports of suspicious people, it will give us some clues to go forward. Good luck, you two. I finished looking around, so I'll be heading back to the lab. With a broad, suspicious smile on her face, Professor Kisaragi leaves the crime scene.
She certainly seemed to be enjoying this. No wonder they call her a witch.
Yeah, I can see that. After finishing our investigation around the park, we returned to the TOKUSOU office and took a breather. We didn't get any solid clues to go forward.
The only thing that was strange was the cone that had been placed there about 2 or 3 days ago.
Well, considering the estimate time of death, it's highly likely that the culprit left it there. And if fingerprints or other physical evidence are found, it would lead to a solid clue. Even though I say that out loud, I began to wonder if that really was the case. It's one of the most horrific murders in G Prefecture, or even in the whole country. It doesn't seem like a random crime. It must have been planned. Of course it's not normal. But why would the culprit make the mistake of leaving the evidence behind? Especially if it's a mysterious case.
There's a wrinkle between the layers. Will there be any physical evidence? Or could it really be a strange incident?
He's right on that. It's a little frustrating to be able to tell. I have no clue.
Same here. There are still so many things we don't know.
Now that he mentioned it, Sena's eyebrows furrowed deeper than usual. It looks like the investigation will be short-lived. The first inspection meeting is in the afternoon. The account's office is about to open, but we don't have much time. Come to think of it, it's already time for the accounting department to set up, but on our way back there were no media members around the entrance of the G Prefectural Police. Is this incident being kept a secret from the media, like the previous incident? And once again, it's in monthly Mew.
Since there's no clue, there's no point in overthinking about it. Hey Natty, why don't we grab a bite before the investigation meeting?
My thoughts on media censorship were interrupted by Sena's sudden invitation. Speaking of filling your stomach, I can't believe you have an appetite right after witnessing such a gruesome scene. You can't say that about Professor Kisaragi, you know?
Don't pin us together! I'm just saying it lightly. You can't fight on an empty stomach, you know?
It's not like we're going to war or anything. It's okay. I guess that means I've grown a little bit now that I think about it. I don't have a strong appetite, but I won't reject it either. Before I wouldn't have felt it in the mood at all.
Music! So happy! Hey old man, I'm back again.
Sena spoke to a middle-aged man standing behind the counter, who seems to be the owner. He looks like Sena's a regular at this restaurant. Whoa, I had no idea there was a place like this near the prefectural headquarters. Sena took me to a coffee shop that's close to G Prefectural Police Station. The calm atmosphere and faint aroma of coffee creates an indescribable sense of comfort. This place looks nice. You come here often?
Yes, I do. Hey old man, we'll have the two of the usual.
As soon as we sit down at the table, Sena orders something without asking me first again. The usual?
You'll see. I hope you enjoy the G Prefecture's food.
I just recently came to G Prefecture and Sena's been trying to dye me in the colors of G Prefecture, so he keeps pushing all sorts of G Prefectural specialties on me. I want to tell him not to order without asking me since he's not treating me and the bills are separated, but he means no ill will whatsoever. He's doing it with good intentions. It's a total hard sell, but I don't feel like getting upset right now. A specialty of G Prefecture. I wonder what this special dish is. few minutes later, the special dish was brought to us. Steaming, fragrant coughing, and... What is this?
Oh my god, it's bean on toast, mate! It's bean on toast!
A slice of bread that had been toasted to a delicious gold brown is cut in half and stuffed with a generous number of toppings. Yeah, so far so good. So far it's a normal sandwich, but there's one thing I just can't overlook. Hey Sena, what is this black thing sandwiched between the pieces of bread?
Well, it's an Agura toast, of course.
Agura toast? What is an Agura toast? Where did this come from?
It's literally Japanese. It's literally Japanese beans on toast. I mean... Let me give you a brief background story on the Agura toast.
This is what I call a smug face. Sena was full of pride as he began to explain the origins of the Agura toast. It is a unique gourmet food that is originated in N City, a prefecture, the neighboring prefecture. The object densely packed between the toast bread is red bean paste. Oh, it's like the red bean paste, like the one that is also used on manju. Speaking of Agura toast, this also reminds me of other Japanese sweets such as manju and daifuku. Why is that? Why did they decide to put this between the bread and call it an Agura toast? Oh no, girlie, one second. I like this music so much. So kawaii.
And what's more,
looks like the intensive lectures are going to continue. Sena says that this Agura toast is apparently sold at convenience stores as well. That's so stupid. I can't believe it. I feel the urge to use my lighters on Sena. What for? No, let's not get into it. I'll lose this fight even if I try. There's no hesitation, confusion, bewilderment, or guilt on Sena's face. Truth. Everything he says is the truth. There seems to be so much more in this world that I don't know.
and that's the origins.
It's only been a few minutes, but during that time, Sena spoke with incredible enthusiasm about the Agura toast, and I learned a lot about it. But even so, I can't find myself taking a bite. It's a unique appearance, and this red bean paste is getting in the way. I'ma be real.
If I was in that situation, I wouldn't know what to do because I don't like beans. I don't like beans, so I would be like, I would literally want the ground to eat me alive, and I would just want to be buried on the ground because I would be so embarrassed by this. Oh goodness. Hey, what are you doing? Stop looking at it and eat it already. The investigation meeting is about to start soon, you know?
I know.
This is it! This is delicious. Ignoring my doubts, Sena begins to eat the Agura toast and flashed a smile.
I ask how it tastes, see how it goes. See how it goes. What's up? Ask. Alright, let's see how it goes. Sorry about that, Sena, but there's a saying that goes, there's no such thing as a delicious specialty.
Huh? You're not going to eat it? I guess you're wondering if it's tasty?
Sharp as always. It's only at a time like this.
I told you everything in detail, and yet it's still not enough. Did you know the Agura was born in the Taisho era? That's roughly 100 years ago. If it was that bad, it wouldn't have been here for so long. If you give it a try, you'll understand it.
Indeed, that may be true. Alas, I was defeated in an argument by Sena. I feel a little frustrated.
Well, just give it a try.
In stark contrast to his sharpness from earlier, Sena smiled as if he hadn't noticed how I felt at all. Alright, I'm going to believe in my partner. Oh well, let's go!
I close my eyes and take a bite of the Agura toast, as if it were to jump up the stage at
Kiyomizu Temple.
I don't know why, but the thing is, the moment she tries the sandwich, it's gonna remind me of Good Luck Charlie when the brother was eating the sandwich, when the chaos was happening with the baby falling up the stairs. This is literally what this protagonist is giving me, that vibe of Gabe eating the sandwich.
Oh, I love Good Luck Charlie.
The aroma and crispy texture of the toasted bread, this rich sweetness of red bean paste enhanced by the slight saltiness of the butter spreads in my mouth.
Huh? It's delicious.
Right?
After all, there are still areas of knowledge in this world that are beyond my understanding. While pondering the significance of the founding TOKUSOU, I began to enjoy my Agura toast. All the detectives from the 1st Investigative Division were already gathered in the main conference room where the investigation meeting was being held. They seem to be having conversations about this case. Some are even letting out what can only be called speculation about who the perpetrator may be. It's important to not lose sight of who the person is.
These people are only saying random crap.
SENA, who's thinking the same as me, muttered to himself.
Oh, hi there! Huh? You two? Didn't expect it to see you here.
They're the detectives with the highest arrest rate in the 1st Investigative Division. I didn't see them at the park where the incident happened, but for a case like this, of course they would naturally investigate it.
Yo. Chief? What are they doing here?
Didn't they get fired from the police force?
Say what?
It seems he too thinks we were fired.
Well, you see...
Chief Tanaka glances towards our direction with a troubled look, then whispers at Detective Nimi.
Huh? They're part of the special investigation team under the direct order of the chief director? The new established department people been talking about.
Oh boy, SENA's lies are spreading further.
Ha ha ha! That's right! Going to ask us for help in the future? Shin?
SENA seems proud of himself. Real proud.
Why were they chosen and not us, Masami? Not us!
Now he's throwing a temper tantrum. Detective Nimi glares at us as if he wanted to murder us.
Oh my god! I'm defending you! Ah, shut up, you jealous guy.
SENA's lies are getting bigger and bigger.
As expected from Chief Director. He's got a good eye. Right, partner?
He's gaslighting this whole thing, and he's dragging me in it. As expected, Detective Nimi turns to glare at me with a fierce look in his eyes.
Chief, it is true that these two helped during the last case. But they'll disrupt the investigation with nonsensical urban legends or whatever! Fire those two! Immediately!
The assistant inspector is extremely furious by what's going on and began to shout.
People like them. Can't believe they're part of the special investigation team!
He's still having a hard time comprehending. Well, that's to be expected, considering they're the ace duo of the 1st Investigative Division, who are well known amongst everyone in this room. For now, it seems that he respects us a bit, but because we helped during the last incident, but he'll never admit that anyone has superior abilities to him, especially in SENA's case.
I can't do anything about it, since they work directly with the Chief Director, so I have no say in this.
Chief Tanaka is overwhelmed by Detective Nimi's tantrum and is at a loss for words.
It's no use.
Detective Nimi quickly turns around and walks away, or so we thought, but instead he stops dead in his tracks and turns back to face the chief. He probably wanted to talk to the chief director directly, but then realized that his whereabouts and actions were completely unknown. After all, if we are his direct subordinate, we never met. After all, even if we are his direct subordinates, we never met the man. Anyone can imagine what he looks like.
What's wrong? We investigated every possibility without overlooking the smallest details that you normally overlook. Last case did happen to be something related to urban legends. Stop being so ignorant. All that possibility is just a bunch of nonsense. In what world there's such police officers who investigate urban legends because of something that's a bit strange? No one. That's why we're here. To be honest, I don't fully believe in every urban legend either. But what I value more than anything is believing the testimony of witnesses who say what they've seen, whether it's an urban legend monster or not.
Ha! You think you're some hot-blooded detective character from a TV drama? Honestly, punks like you should stop trying to act like detectives. It's damaging the public's perceptions of police officers.
The hell you say? I'm not a punk! I was a former biker gang member! An ex-member!
Yeah, that doesn't make a difference. It's exactly what it is. One leads to the other no matter what. The two of them seem to be in bad harmony, and Chief Tanaka is holding his hair, which seems to be thinning due to stress, speaking in an anxious voice.
Mimi, Aizen, there's no need for this. Police officers must work together to solve the case, no matter. You agree, right? Gosh, you're so annoying. I know you already think of me that way. You don't have to tell me.
Apparently, Chief Tanaka's attempt at calming them down made them snap at each other. As expected, they don't get along well.
Anyways, Chief, we don't need the help of this special investigation team. The first investigative division is more than enough. It's true that there's been strange things going on, but there's nothing supernatural happening in G Prefecture.
It seems they acknowledge the strange things happening here, but they do not want to admit supernatural things may be happening here.
But the first investigative division will solve all these mysteries. I will uncover the truth. It's we, Shin. Right. I'm sorry. Ha! Same here. TOKUSOU will also solve the case. Please stop it already. The higher-ups are coming.
It sounded more like a plea rather than an order. I can tell his hair was getting thinner every minute.
Let's go, Shin. The meeting's about to start. Hi! Alright, let's try to do our best. Go ahead! We'll solve this case and have you admit that it's a mysterious incident!
At least it's over for now, but the conflict between the Prefectural Police's #1 duo, the pride of the 1st Investigative Division, and the newly established TOKUSOU unit under the Chief Director will continue to plague Chief Tanaka.
Well then, let's start the investigation meeting.
Perhaps due to the stress, the chief speaks in a wobbly voice.
Sometimes I feel bad for this guy still, because he just deals with so much shit that requires such patience.
Not surprising that he's like this. He had to deal with the problem child in the presence of all top brass of G Prefectural Police, including the Deputy Chief and the Superintendent. However, the Chief Director's not here yet. He's the one who's declared that matters in G Prefecture should be resolved within G Prefecture. And there are investigators from the main office who will likely show up in a situation like this. At first glance, it may seem strange that headquarters is involved with G Prefecture's recent incident, but normally in an incident of this magnitude, the headquarters need to be involved. It's no surprise that the investigators from the main police force treat prefectural police detectives like their subordinates. Just like how detectives at prefectural police headquarters overwork local detectives, prefectural police headquarters are nothing more than branches of the main office, centralized and thoroughly top-down. That's the organization known as the police. However, there's no intervention from the prefectural government in this case. This was due to the chief's policy of the prefectural government set for when they took office. Matters in G Prefecture should be resolved within G Prefecture. This literally means that there will be no interference from the headquarters. The fact that this is being followed means that this policy is in effect. The chief director probably had quite a lot to say about the agency. Otherwise, such as G Prefecture's issues should be resolved within G Prefecture would have been announced and would have been followed. But he's absent from this first conference and after taking office, and the deputy chief spoke on his behalf about the general policy. I heard the same thing when I was in S Prefecture. I remember that remarks made by the chief of the G Prefectural Police Headquarters which overturned the common sense of the police organization, causing controversy. Perhaps the chief's not at the G Prefectural Police but at the headquarters, and they're trying to prevent the headquarters from traveling. It's entirely plausible since no one has ever seen him. Such thoughts unrelated to the case run through my mind. The investigation meeting proceeded smoothly and I began to feel bored as if there was no information beyond what they've gathered at the scene.
Hey, Natty.
SENA, who is sitting next to me, nudges me in the arm with his elbow and whispers to me. No matter how you look at it, it was a bit distracting.
Look behind you.
Sena, who's sitting next to me, He's right. As prompted, I turn around and see... our mysterious evil guy. Standing there is the handsome young man with the blonde hair, looking completely out of place, standing there with a sour expression on his face. Blue eyes, blonde hair, all defined features. It's obvious briefly that he's a foreigner, and those sharp, narrow eyes were the same as the person who appeared in the previous incident.
How dare he intrude into the investigating meeting of such a serious case? Seriously, who the hell is that prince?
The blonde-haired young man seems completely out of place in this investigation meeting, which is off limits to anyone other than those involved in the investigations from the G Prefectural Police. His presence is conspicuous in a conference room filled with tough-looking detectives, and yet no one talks about him, as if he's an entity that shouldn't be touched. As if he's a transparent being. Ooh! As I was thinking about this, the prince suddenly turns to look at me, meeting my gaze. The prince in the black suit had blank eyes. No emotion was conveyed. Just then, the prince suddenly turns on his heels and leaves the conference room, emotionless, as if nothing had happened.
That bastard. No, Sena. We're in the middle of an investigation meeting.
It's strange. Usually if someone leaves during a meeting, they'll attract everyone's attention, but no one even looks at his direction. To borrow the words of Chief Tanaka when we first met him during the Lady in the Trenchcoat case, the prince is a ghost. It's strange to see everyone treat him like he doesn't exist, but in a way it also confirms that the chief's words were correct. If the crows are on top are white, then they're white. Their hierarchical relationship in the police organization is strict. I guess we should follow suit and assume the prince is a ghost. However, Sena and I don't live such an ordinary life.
Next time I see him, I will confront him.
Sena mutters in frustration and gives him a small nod. This is precisely why the chief director appointed us, despite our lack of experience to TOKUSOU. I would like to believe that the chief director sees potential in us. Okay.
Well...
Wait, where is it?
Well, it's time to conclude this meeting.
Chief Tanaka lets out a deep sigh, as if he's finally accomplished his mission and looked completely exhausted.
That was a long and tedious waste of time. I guess we should have followed that prince.
I'd like to agree with Sena, but as someone who wasn't able to get a hand on the scene, it's hard to say.
For now, the only thing we can do is check the corpse. Let's go see Professor Kisaragi.
Right. Oh my god, you again? When we arrived at the forensic science lab, Inspector Kokatsu and Detective Nimi were already there.
You guys again? That's my line. You guys came to see the autopsy results too? No surprise after that meeting.
Well, yeah. It seems that the inspectors thought the same thing as us.
They're just copying us. Are you stupid or something? We came to ask Professor Kisaragi about the autopsy results and then conduct a scientific investigation based on it. We're not copying anyone, just doing what's obvious. On the contrary, aren't you too into the occult and spread urban legends with no worries? You're the ones in the way, so I suggest you leave.
The hell you say? You bastard! We've only come to ask about the autopsy results, but looks like there's going to be another commotion. This is getting too frequent. Oh my god.
I've tried to keep quiet for so long, but you! Even though you're just a regular police officer and younger than me, and I'm a higher rank than you, do you think it's okay to talk to me that way? You're 32 years old, right? Yeah, that's only 7 years difference.
Oh right, forgot. So this is 25 and he's 32.
That is a huge age gap, but also, they don't look like their ages! That is so crazy! Nimi looks like he could be 25 and Sena looks like he could be 32. Like, they're switching ages.
No, that doesn't mean anything.
Considering your age, you look much younger than me. So you're the one who shouldn't have the nerve to talk to me like that.
What was that? I mean, it's true. He certainly doesn't look like 32 years old. But this behavior isn't acceptable either. I had the intentions of stopping this when...
Shintaro, that's enough. Stop messing around with the kid.
I'm just joking.
You're done, right?
Yeah. As expected of Inspector Koketsu, he easily stopped Detective Mimi. However, my partner...
Hey, old man! Who the hell do you think you're calling a kid, huh?
And things got heated up, of course.
Hey, why don't you say it to my face? Say it! I dare you!
Sena, please! This is just making you look more like Dad! Inspector Koketsu looks at him with an expressionless look on his face. Ugh, Sena, you're embarrassing me!
This is ridiculous.
Still acting like a punk.
Whatever.
Aw, you're stopping? I was enjoying watching delicious-looking men get on top, excuse me? It would have been a precious nutrient that would have kept my skin moisture. Jesus, don't even say it. You're gonna jerk yourself.
Professor Kisaragi, the director of Forensic Science Lab, appeared before us. She seemed really drawn with what was happening. This woman, I wouldn't be surprised if she really, it's Miss Witch.
Who are you calling a witch? Do you want to die today?
Sorry.
Clearly afraid, he bows to her in a beautiful manner.
My queen.
If things continue like this, we'll never get anywhere. Let's change the subject. Press the X. Getting back to the topic. Professor Kisaragi, we came to see the autopsy results. Yes. Normally, we're supposed to get permission from the family first, but the body is unidentified, and the autopsy results are complete. Now, about the corpse inside there, I'll explain everything in detail. Smiling brightly, Professor Kisaragi beckoned us in. It's okay to be this casual for such a gruesome incident. Is it okay to be this casual for such a gruesome incident? With these thoughts in mind, we stepped into the witch's lair. Alright, let's start. In front of us lies the half-corpse whose clothes, blood, and other debris had been removed, cleaned up. Professor Kisaragi turns to us with a smile.
So, Professor Kisaragi, who's the culprit? Is it the demon mirror or something?
I told Sena that this isn't just something occult-related, but it seems he's deeply obsessed with it. Not every strange phenomenon needs to be labeled as something occult-related, you know?
I've heard that phrase somewhere before. He told me Shibiku's book, The Origin of Scientific Investigation.
As expected from you. For now, I'm going to present you the scientific analysis. Let's leave the occult part for later, Sena.
Right.
Let's start in chronological order. First, look closely at the cutted part of the corpse. With that said, we turn our attention to the corpse that was carried in for autopsy. The cut surface was clearly washed, the painful wounds severed, and the brains, bones, vertebrae, muscle, fat, and internal organs exposed to the air. Good grief. But not as bad as what we saw during the crime scene, and doesn't smell like death anymore.
I hate to say this, but it's been beautifully cut in half.
Exactly. They cut it right at the center, almost perfectly divided into left and right. The cross-section itself is jade, and there are tiny bone fragments found around the cut surface of the spine, which suggest the murder weapon was a saw. Considering about what we talked about this morning, was this victim dismembered while still alive? Yes, she was still alive.
What a terrible way to go. Yeah, absolutely.
Their earlier belligerence is gone now. Sen and Detective Mimi both agreed as if they shared the same thoughts. Judging from the incision marks on the parietal bone, it appears the perpetrator started the cut at the clothing opening. But logically, as soon as they start cutting, the uterus and intestines would be caught in the saw blade immediately, because they are flexible and would be hard to cut. Ugh, that's kinda gross. However, the perpetrator held down the organs with their hands, pinned them down, and used the saw again, cutting. Oh my god! She said it so lightly and strangely detailed, so I can't help but imagine the moment of the crime, which makes me feel sad and at the same time, anger towards the perpetrator. It seems these two feel the same as they remain completely silent. At that point, she was losing a lot of blood, but somehow she was still alive. However, the saw blade eventually reached the victim's abdomen, damaging the abdominal aorta and causing massive blood loss. The victim died a short time later. She was cut in half alive, from her abdomen to her navel. What a terrible fate. SENA and Detective Nimi began to gag, hastily trying to cover their mouths with their hands. Looks like they're trying their best to not throw up. Strangely, they both seem to be similar in some ways.
Easy there, Shintaro.
Please don't throw up here, SENA. The sink's over there. As soon as she says that, the two of them rush towards the sink.
Good grief.
Yeah, really.
How embarrassing. Apologies for the interruption, Professor Kisaragi.
Oh, it's fine. Don't worry about it. For some reason, Professor Kisaragi seems to be in a much better mood than before.
You weirdo! Those anguish expressions on your beautiful boys' faces are arousing. This woman, you're a weirdo.
You really have some weird kinks and taste. Seriously, this is anything but that.
Alright, let's continue.
Right. Now, we'll talk about the strange thing about the victim's body site. Strange thing? As if it wasn't already strange enough. First, I'll start by asking Shin a question. Do you know how much blood there is in humans?
About 7 to 8% of their body weight, Professor. Why do you ask? And stop calling me Shin!
Yes, you are correct. The victim's estimated weight is about 50 kilograms, meaning the total amount of blood is between 3.5 and 4 liters. There's a similar amount of blood at the scene, mostly in pools of blood. It's almost the same amount as we spoke this morning. Because she was dismembered while being alive and bled to death, but what's so strange about it? Take a look at these photos from the crime scene. Aside from the pools of blood, what else seems to be out of place? We look closely at the photos of the crime scene. It's exactly the same as what we saw in the morning. All we see are gruesome remains of the victims and a large pool of blood.
The scene seems too clean. Take a closer look.
Too clean? After hearing Inspector Koketsu's words, I look at the photos again. I think I understand what he's saying. Okay. First choice, there's no blood splatters. The murder didn't take place there, nor internal organs. Honestly, I didn't know. I just picked the first answer because I had no idea at the time. There's no blood splatters, right?
Correct. What does that mean? Being dismembered alive is no easy task. It's natural to think the victim would resist. That's right. If the victim had persisted in struggle, it wouldn't end with just a few blood splatters like this. The scene's still gruesome enough, but if the victim resisted and struggled before dying, it wouldn't be strange if the walls, floor, and ceiling were covered in blood. Oh, I see. If the person's hand and feet had been tied or restrained, we would have found traces of that on the corpse. However, there were no such marks on the corpse, nor any defensive wounds or other signs that would suggest a criminal's action. So she wasn't restrained, yet she didn't struggle either. Strange, isn't it? I noticed something was off there, so I had them do a drug test and it showed monk-shoot ingredients. So the killer originally wanted to poison her? Perhaps because of the poison's effect, the victim didn't die instantly and the perpetrator remained unaware of this. We also discovered another strange thing. There's more? Not only did we find monk-shoot ingredients, but also datura ingredients. Huh? Datura? The hell's that? Datura, also known as stramonium, is a drug widely distributed for horticultural purposes. It's also poisonous and causes symptoms such as vomiting, fatigue, and hallucinations, but it's not a deadly poison.
As expected, you're quite knowledgeable in this. If you want to poison someone, it's useless to use datura. Long ago, there was an anesthetic called Susensan. It was made by mixing datura with monkshu and other plants as main ingredients. Such a thing like that exists? It's a homemade anesthetic that doesn't have any side effects. You can get monkshu in the mountains, and if you're looking for flowers for gardening, you can get datura at the florist, you know? However, the recipe for Susensan has not been passed down till this day. After all, it was made by a surgeon in the Edo period and was said to be a secret recipe. So, Kisaragi, what do you think?
Well, all I can do is analyze the ingredients. The rest will be left to the detection of the great detectives. If it was an anesthetic, one could argue that the intention was to reduce the victim's pain. It could also be possible the perpetrator desperately wanted to cut the victim's body in half while keeping them alive. If it's the latter, then their way of thinking can be described as abnormal. Another strange thing, the clothes the corpse had were also neatly cut. The item used in this case was a pair of scissors, dressmaking scissors. So they stripped the victim of her clothes, took the trouble to cut the victim and the clothes, and then put the half clothes back on the half bodies? That's right. This level of attention to detail is clearly not normal. It almost feels like a kind of aesthetic. To begin with, doing something to the human body is no easy task, but the perpetrator remains completely calm and collected as they carry out their work. Disposing of the internal organs is a perfect example of this. In other words, the perpetrator was already familiar with the process.
So this isn't your first crime?
Well, it's hard to say. It may be possible this is the first time they've killed a human and may have practiced with meat or fish beforehand. Oh, that's my phone, sorry. In my opinion, animal butchering techniques can also be applied to humans, such as incision, skinning, fat removal, and organ removal.
Hey, Missy! Killing someone and dismembering them are completely different things from butchering meat and fish.
For the average person, yes, but there are people in this world who go far beyond common sense. Sena's eyes were saying, "You're one of them, weren't you?" But he kept his mouth shut because he knows she's going to be pissed. For example, in 2009, FCT Prefecture, there was a dismemberment murder case that was carried out by a methamphetamine smuggling group. Jesus, sorry for mispronouncing that. The two victims were begging for their lives, but they were decapitated. All the while, the killers were laughing. Then they mutilated the bodies and dumped them in the mountains and in the harbor. Good grief.
That's insane.
Not all of them have been arrested yet, but the ones that were caught faced the death penalty.
Seriously? They all haven't been arrested yet?
It's rumored that some of them fled the country, to countries that don't have an extradition treaty.
Speaking of going beyond common sense, there was those serial murders that took place in Ukraine in the year 2007. Is it just me, or did Detective Nimi's voice go low for some reason? Perhaps he's feeling competitive with Professor Kisaragi.
What kind of incident was that?
It was a brutal case of two teenagers who committed a hedonistic crime, targeting only physically weak people such as children and the elderly, assaulting and killing 21 people over the course of a month. That's right. And the murder was videotaped, huh?
Yes. After the perpetrators were arrested, the video was somehow leaked onto the internet and available for anyone to view. Oh my god.
If they had a grudge, then at least the murder would be less great for murdering them. Murdering for pleasure is the worst.
Is that it?
Well, you might be wondering, do people kill out of hatred or resentment? For a normal person, there can't be that many people filled with so much hatred to the point of killing them whenever they please.
I see. Well,
yeah, there was someone! Sanae Makimura, that from the first game. According to the recent study in criminal psychology, this may be a reason why murderers are motivated by resentments and have repeated offense rates.
But that's for a normal human being, isn't it?
That's right. In other words, once a person is free enough, they're able to easily accomplish acts that are beyond our imagination.
Like the blind man case I experienced, it's hard to keep up with the increasing brutality, abnormality, and cruelty of crimes in recent years. Can humans really be such frightening creatures? Could humans be really this cruel? There's far too many incidents that makes me think about it. I wonder what the criminal was thinking when they killed the victim. Who knows? But considering the attention to detail given to the body, it's clearly no grudge nor robbery. Either way, it's not the work of an ordinary person. That much I can say for sure. The culprit is either a madman or... this may be the work of a devil. It's hard to deny it.
We got everything we wanted to go to. Let's go, Shintaro.
Right. We'll leave the occult investigation to you guys. Leave the case solving to us. Okay. You bastards! Think you can say whatever you want? As he barks after Inspector Kokatsu, who taken the lead and started walking away, Detective Nimi follows suit, uttering his usual parting remark. It's obvious they'll take the scientific route. It's understandable that the culprit is someone out of the ordinary, as Professor Kisaragi said earlier. TOKUSOU is no ordinary department. Although it's not a public organization yet, it's a special department under the control of the chief director, which deals with mysterious incidents happening in G Prefecture. I know from personal experience that the killer's logic and thoughts are unfathomable. There's a broad of different perspectives and we can't dismiss any possibilities. We need to approach the case some other way than the first investigative division. Let's think carefully about the criminal's thoughts based on what we know so far. So here we go! Whoa. Okay, the upper part says the culprit's intentions in terms of cutting the victim's body in half. Alright, let's start reading. A brutal incident occurred in the park in G City. The victim was drugged with unknown reasons as to why, and she was cut in half while still alive. Then they dressed the victim with cut clothes as well, and attached the body to a mirror. What the hell is their obsession with the corpse? Okay, this investigation is just chaotic. The culprit loved this victim. The second one. Perhaps the culprit loved this victim. Professor Kisaragi said that it can't be resentment, so it must be love. The clothes were specially cut to fit the victim and carefully placed back, which makes me think they did it with love rather than malice. In fact, if they were someone they hated, would they really want to go to the trouble of putting clothes back on after you had taken them off? However, I can't quite understand why they would kill someone they loved. That horrific scene was not even on the level of being something made with love. Their intentions are unclear. Of course, they could be just doing it for fun. First of all, why did they kill the victim? It doesn't seem out of resentment, so what's their purpose? We got for pleasure, on impulse, it's resentment after all. The first one. Was it killing for pleasure? Like the case Detective Nimi mentioned as an example? It seems so given that the way they handled the case and their actions, even if the video got leaked on the internet. However, their persistent tactics, such as forcing people to drink the mixture of plant toxins, seems to be a bit suspicious. If you want to render the victim defenseless, you can use a commercially available stun gun. It's sad for me as a police officer, but even after various regulations and police crackdowns, there are still many cases where they are used for criminal purposes. Well, if they were split in half, they would have died either way, so it would be quicker to kill them by hitting them hard on the back, on the head, and then split in half. On the other hand, if you consider the long windedness to be an aesthetic unique kill for pleasure, it's not hard to understand. There may be some immeasurable meaning to non-ordinary people, but it's still impossible to say. Well, it's hard to say this at this stage. The only thing we can say for sure is that the perpetrator is no ordinary human being. In any case, there are very few remains. The only thing we found so far that could provide a clue is the victim's body, clothes, and blood. The victim's belongings have not been found. Were they even there in the first place, or were they taken away? Speaking of being taken away, why would the perpetrator take the victim's left corpse? Even though it's only half of the human body, it's still quite heavy and difficult to carry. Even if it's hidden, it wouldn't be an easy task, and there would be a risk of increasing number of eyewitnesses. But there must be some meaning behind the fact that it survived despite it being such a risk. Maybe kept it as a souvenir for a funeral. Wow, yeah, sure, we're gonna bury the half body. The perpetrator kept it as a souvenir? Serial killers, especially those who kill for pleasure, seem to tend to collect such things, like the victim's jewelry and some of their items. Also a link that details the victim's profile. It's horrifying to even say it, but there must have been cases where all parts of the corpse was taken away. This incident feels familiar. To be honest, all sorts of random thoughts are running through my head right now. But I can't keep going like this forever. I guess what I can conclude for now is... there's still too much that we don't know. The culprit is evil. There's still too much that we don't know. There's still too much that we don't know yet. The poisoning, the splitting the body in half, the clothing, the right half of the body glued to the mirror, the left half being taken, and the intention behind the killing. There's not enough clues to draw any conclusions. So that's all we can come up with for now.
Your face. Did you come up with something?
1 second. Sorry, nothing. I was just analyzing everything Professor Kisaragi said. At this point, we still don't know anything. It's hard to draw conclusions.
Should we head to the forensics department? Maybe they'll have some fingerprints from that cone or something.
Come to think of it, no information about that came up during the investigation meeting. I'm surprised SENA thought this out. Great idea. Let's go.
Right.
Alright. Good luck, both of you. I'll let you know if I find anything else. Professor Kisaragi smiles cheerfully and heads back to the forensic department. Hopefully we can get some clues over there. Well, another waste of time.
The forensic team were messing around, saying that it was like magic or something.
In the end, there were no fingerprints on the cone, not even a trace of anything found at the scene. It certainly does seem like magic, but judging from the look on their faces, they were probably messing around with us because we're part of TOKUSOU. From SENA's slice to us being determined to investigate on the occult had the insults and jokes extended to the forensic department as well.
It's already nighttime. We didn't get any clues. I guess we'll have to call it a day.
SENA seems irritated. That's understandable. A person has been killed and there's been no progress in finding the perpetrator at all. Though not as much as me. I also feel a sense of anger and impatience. If the perpetrator is not found quickly, there will be more victims. If the crime was committed for pleasure, then it would make sense. Calm down, SENA. We'll find some sort of clue of the victim's identity. I'm sure Professor Kisaragi will find something soon. For now, we'll just have to wait patiently.
Well.
Suddenly, my cell phone rang loudly. Who's calling me now?
Hey, you need to have that turned off during work.
Ignoring SENA's remarks, which don't suit his looks at all, I turn my eyes towards the phone screen. Anonymous number? Could it be the chief director? Hi, Mari.
Apologies for bothering you when you're so busy, but I would like an update on the situation. Please, tell me everything.
Yep, it's the chief director. Why call me on my cell phone on an anonymous number? You could have just called on the black phone at the office.
What? You're at the office? I thought you were out there investigating.
It's late right now to investigate at the scene, and there are no more clues to find at this point.
But surely there's something else you can do. When I would forget to eat and sleep and devote myself to the investigations. Those were the good old days. My senior and I would work on investigations every day. Now I just remember something unpleasant.
His voice had gone up from cheerful to a shaking one, basically his usual self. Could it be that he worked with his senior on cases like this? Anyways, I'll report to you now, Chief. I feel a bit annoyed at his comparison to when he was a young cop, which is a typical thing old people do. First, regarding the state of the corpse, as reported in the initial report, the body had been split along the midline. According to Professor Kisaragi of the Crime Science Laboratory, the victim was still alive during the process. A gas comes through the receiver. The perpetrator's motives and purpose remain unknown, but poison was found on the corpse, possibly administered as an anesthesia.
So?
We believe that the perpetrator aimed to split the victim while she was still alive.
Oh, this is such a horrible incident.
I can hear him trying to hold his urge to throw up. I tried to make it sound less disturbing, but it still had a bad effect. I knew this man was a pussy! I decided to mess with him a little. Chief! Behind silence abruptly. The last thing I heard was the sound of the phone dropping. I didn't use Liar's Art, but it's still a white light that proved to be extremely effective. I hate to say it, but if he gets so easily scared like this, I wonder how the hell he became the chief director. This feels a bit sus. What did the chief want?
He said that he's looking forward to an investigation on this case.
I see. Well then, we'll need to find the culprit quickly.
I'm so tired. I think I'll go home and rest. There's nothing else we could do today. The station isn't far, but my legs feel heavy because of today's event.
Hey, Nettie, wait up!
Out of nowhere, SENA came running from behind. Even though we made no progress on the investigation, he still had a refreshing smile. Perhaps he found some sort of clue?
Hey, before going home, how about we go out for a drink tonight?
Correction! He's just invited me out for drinks. I'm surprised at how quickly his mood changed.
Alright then, well, as much as I would like to continue this episode, I am going to be ending this one here. But thank you guys so much for watching the first episode of the half-half case from Shin Hayarigami 2. If you really did enjoy it, drop the like button. It really helps out a lot. If you're not subscribed to the channel, would appreciate if you do. Also leave your comments and your thoughts on this video or anything in general. And yeah, that is pretty much it, my lovelies. I love y'all, appreciate you, and we'll be seeing you on the next one.